Part 5, here we go. Let's build a calendar. In order to build a calendar, you have to have a staff member within your sub-account. So we come over here to sub-account, and within my staff here on the left, we're going to ensure that we have a staff member created. Add user, give them a name, let's say John Smith, give John Smith an email address, combinator@gmail.com. Okay, we're going to use our Sonic Combinator at gmail.com. For the phone number, we'll just leave blank. Advanced settings, if you wanted to give them a password, they can create their own password when they first go to app.sonic-solutions.com. You can assign them a different calendar, but we haven't created their calendar specifically. But go ahead and first create your staff member. You can give them a signature block as well if you need. On the left side over here, you have roles and permissions. This is where you can grant them specific access to certain areas within their sub-account. So they can have access to certain tools, for example, and then they can view and manage blogs, for example. If you don't want them to mess with your blog, you can uncheck this or turn it off. Gives you a lot of granularity in order to control exactly what they have access to and not. Okay, let's hit save on that. And then the next thing is you have call and voicemail settings for them. So this is saying where do they want to receive their phone calls? Maybe it's going to be on the mobile app, for example, or they might have a phone number associated with them, or they might actually have a desktop voice over IP type of a situation. And then also their web app, which would be directly through a website. You can have voicemail settings, and then you can upload the WAV file or the MP3 to say things like, thanks for calling John, I wasn't available right now, please leave a message. So let's hit save on that. Let's go to the next one, user availability. This is when John's going to be available to take appointments. So whatever John's duty hours are, maybe start there, and you can enter 9 to 5, for example. Is there going to be a meeting location all the time? If there's a Zoom link that John has, you can integrate Zoom with HighLevel as well. So it'll automatically set up a Zoom call for them as well. In this case, let's just leave it at full address. For example, they're going to meet in the office. Maybe they are like a nail salon tech. Time zone, of course, is important because you want this to be accurate. I'm in the Eastern time zone, so let's go ahead and pick that. Any one of these EDTs will work. Now, John has a schedule Monday through Friday. Let's say John works from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Instead of doing each one by one, you can hit the copy field over here, and it'll just copy the rest of them. So hit save. Now basically John works 9 to 4 Monday through Friday. Let's remember that. And then let's go to the next one, calendar configuration. Because we don't have a calendar right now, then let's go to notification settings. And then how does John want to get notified of the appointments? You can receive an in-app notification, which is that lead connector app that we would have had John download. Or John can get emails, can get SMS, and it can be very specific on what reasons to send a text message or email, whatever the case is. Okay, so lots of options there. Now John is created. Let's make sure John is in our staff over here. Here's our staff, and now John is here as well. So now that we have a staff member, we can now create a calendar and then assign that calendar to John. So let's go over here to calendars, and we can pick a calendar if we already have one, but for the purposes of training, let's create a new one. So new calendar, and you can pick a couple of options. Personal booking is a one-on-one meeting with John. So in the nail salon example, this would be perfect. If there's a class booking, as in you have one host with multiple participants showing up, maybe they're hosting like a yoga session, for example, or some kind of a class, that would be class booking. Round robin would be like you want to evenly distribute the appointments coming in across your entire team. So maybe it is a nail salon example, but you have, let's say, a team of 5. And for every new appointment that comes in, you want to make sure it's round robin. So first person gets a first appointment, second one gets a second appointment, and so on. And then collective booking is the opposite of a class, where it's multiple hosts are available, but one participant is showing up. Maybe you have some kind of a panel interview would be an example here. And then you're going to give it a name. We'll say John's nail salon calendar, for example. And then he's already part of the team over here. And then this is what's called a slug at the end. So you just want to make sure that makes sense. How long are these appointments going to be? If it's a nail salon, I imagine it's probably 60-minute sessions. So let's make this 60 minutes. These happen Monday through Friday, and the appointments can happen based on John's availability. So let's change this to 9 a.m. all the way to 4. Now keep in mind, if John is getting off at 4, that's probably not when you want to make an appointment. So maybe that last appointment has to be at 3 p.m. John can also accept payments. So if somebody needs to pay a deposit, let's say, before they show up to their appointment, you can ask for a payment here. And because Stripe is integrated, somebody will literally go to a calendar, hit appointment that they want, and then they'll be presented with a screen that says you need to pay a deposit. And we could say something like $25 deposit, for example, and then put in the description, this deposit is for ensuring you show up to your appointment or whatever the case is, and then hit confirm. So for now, we're just going to say 0. There's no cost to booking an appointment with John. We won't accept payments. Now we have a calendar for John. So what you can do is take this, copy the link, and share it with John and say, this is your link from now on. If you ever need to share it and have somebody book an appointment with you, you can put it in your signature block of your email, for example. So now that we have John's calendar down here, I'm going to show you how to add this to your website. So you go over here, you go back, and then sites, and then let's just pick the Sonic Solution sales funnel for now, and then go into edit. Now this is where you're going to edit all of the websites, and we're going to build one together as well. But here on the right, you have all sorts of tools within that particular section. You have another toolbar up here that we're going to be using. This is a preview button up here, and when you click this, it'll show you what your website actually would look like on a browser. And then over here on the left, you have this plus add elements. Click on that. This page opens up. And now you have lots of tools here. And the way to build a website is simply drag and drop. You grab this, you bring it out here, and now it's a column. And then you can delete if you want to get rid of it. So hit the plus sign again. You can create subheadlines. So this is how you're getting titles. And that's the extent of typing that you would really have to do. You can have forms and blog posts and image sliders, images themselves. You have code if you want to embed HTML code, for example. And if you scroll down, you should be able to see calendar somewhere in here. You can also do a search in the search bar. Calendar, and there it is. Now we're just going to grab it and drop it. And now that we have calendar there, it gives you this drop down to say, which calendar would you like to pick? And now the calendar is in the website. And now if I was to hit publish, that would actually publish to the website itself, and then I could see it. But when the user of this website shows up, the calendar is going to be right here. Now, if I wanted to move this to a better location, you can grab these drag buttons and literally drag this calendar wherever you'd like. So let's say we have this calendar on a website. User comes over here, and just before they book, they might have some questions. So they need a way to ask you a question immediately. And so you can plug in this chat widget to any website where they can now say something like, I have a question. And any kind of information that they put in here in terms of contact information is going to be recorded in the sub account. Now let's figure out how to create that chatbot. So you come over here to your sub account again and go into settings, and over here on the left, you have automation. Click on automation. Oh, and conversation AI has been moved to AI agents. Great. So let's click on that. That's very nice. And so under AI agents, we see up here is where they've moved the button for conversation AI. Okay, not an issue. Let's go ahead and go over to the right and say create bot. Now you have a couple of different ways to create a bot. So you can do a guided form setup or a prompt-based bot. So we probably want, a simple one is probably going to be guided form. Let's do this one for the sake of training. So create a new bot. What is it going to do? It's going to book appointments for us. Let's pick this one. The other one is just Q&A. If they just want to answer frequently asked questions, for example, we want the booking appointment. Hit continue. And then here's the brand of the company. So because this was a painter, we have this information here. Let's give it a shot and say next. And here are the bot settings. You want to give your bot a name. So this was Painter Bob's Agent. You cannot have apostrophes. Okay. And the channels that this bot is going to monitor is really nice. You can tell it to monitor all of your channels, essentially. Facebook, Instagram, text message, anything related with this business. Now your AI agent is watching and continuously there. Somebody, let's say, that comes through Instagram and sends you a direct message, your agent gets that message and then responds immediately, all for the goal of booking an appointment. It has a casual conversation with them and then ultimately guides them to say, here's the answer to your question. Now, how about we start with your first name? And then you answer your first name and then last name and then email address and then address, and then says, here are my availability for John's nail salon, for example. It also gives them the availability, says 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., just like a receptionist would, and it works like a charm. We also have this option of wait time before responding. What users found was the AI was answering too quickly, so it looked fake or sounded fake. And so now they actually put in a placeholder where you can tell it to delay, where it sounds like somebody's thinking about the answer before giving the answer. So I like to keep it at 1 second. You can make this the primary bot. So if you have backup bots or alternate bots that are supporting, this one is the one that's going to answer first. And then the initial message of the bot to say, hello, I like to be upfront with the bot saying, I am an AI agent. How can I assist you today? I am an AI agent. You can speak to me normally. How can I assist you? And so somebody knows, they know they can speak normally. They don't have to be on their best behavior, and then just say next. So the information the bot is collecting, or the goal, is listed right here. So you have name, you want it to collect the name, email address, phone. Do you want the street address? Yes or no? If you need a street address, let's say you need to go and give a free estimate at the house itself. So you always need an address. That's important. Street address, and then city, if that's important to you as well, and you don't want to mix up your addresses, you can collect the city as well. And then if you have additional questions you can add those questions. And then which calendar is it booking on? We're doing this on our newly created John's Nail Salon calendar. So now the bot is watching Instagram, getting all of this contact information, updating your contacts list, and then ultimately booking on John's calendar. And then let's say the user calls back and they're like, I want to cancel my appointment. You can give the bot the ability to go ahead and cancel the appointment as well. To say, okay, didn't work out. Thank you very much. Your appointment is canceled. And then later we're going to build some workflows as well, where you might have, let's say, a no-show for an appointment. What should happen in that case? You can have a workflow that automatically triggers when that time passes and the person hasn't showed up, send a text message and an email address to that person saying, hey, sorry, we missed you. Here's a link to reschedule, something to that effect. But we'll build these workflows later as well. And then you can allow bot to reschedule. So if they call and they say, hey, I don't like my appointment, I need to reschedule, the bot has the ability to do that. You can turn this on as well. And then we have email notifications down here. Yes, you want to receive email notifications. And then who specifically needs to receive the email notification? Maybe all admins or all users, or if it's a specific person, just John needs to receive the email, for example, and then you can hit save. After you create the bot, you then need to train the bot because it doesn't actually have a knowledge base that it can rely on. So when somebody asks the bot a question, what services do you offer? The bot really doesn't know. And in most cases, what I've noticed is the bot will make up an answer or find the best answer that it can think of if you don't have a knowledge base. So giving it a knowledge base is like putting data in its brain to be able to call upon. And so the way you do this is you go over to knowledge base, you create knowledge base, you give it a name, and maybe this was a nail salon knowledge base, and then you give it a description and hit create. Now, how does it actually get data into its brain? You have the ability to web crawl. You can tell the agent that, hey, I have this website with all of my data on there already, or I have this competitor's website with all of their data on it, and I want to copy their exact model. You can get the web crawler to go ahead and go there. You say add source, you say web crawler, and put the exact URL. So maybe it's like nail salon, Sarasota was your competitor. You can say extract data, and then the AI agent is going to go to that particular website, read their entire website, top to bottom, every page that's visible from the public internet, and then remember that as its own data. Now, you typically want to do this not with your competitor's website. You want to build your own website first with all of your actual accurate data, and then have the agent learn it. So that's the first way. The second way is you can list out frequently asked questions for your bot. And so you would basically list out one by one question. If customer says, what hours do you operate on? That's too easy. The agent's already going to know that based on your calendar availability. But maybe it's something different. Maybe it's ingredients inside of a nail polish. And so you would then create questions and answers and then hit save. And then let's see if tables are built. Tables aren't here yet. They're still coming soon. But this would be something like a spreadsheet. And maybe it's to determine shipping costs. User enters the measurement of a package, the destination of a package, and the weight of a package. And then the AI agent has to look at that table, identify measurement, weight, distance, and then looks at the appropriate cell and says it's going to be $19.95 or whatever. So I'm looking forward to that coming out soon. There you go. If you want to try your hand at doing this yourself instead of just watching, you can use my HighLevel affiliate link in the description below. If you use that, you get an extended 30-day HighLevel trial, hundreds of pre-built AI agents, access to my Skool community, 40+ business and marketing courses that I've built. You'll have all of my website template that you've seen me create, workflows, and snapshots. I'll even hop on a live Zoom call with you twice a week to help guide you and build your business with you. You'll have a direct line to me and also a chance to join my agency and run some of these businesses that I have, as well as take on my client. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.